Ethan Cole never imagined that a routine flight would turn into the most nerve-wracking experience of his career. But when he saw an 8-year-old girl alone and crying on Flight 472, something in his gut told him this wasn't just an ordinary case of travel nerves. What he discovered would leave the entire plane stunned, and by the time they landed, the authorities would be waiting. It started like any other day. Ethan, a seasoned and observant flight attendant, greeted passengers as they boarded Horizon Air Flight 472, heading from Bayfield to Ravenport. He was always professional, always attentive, but as he scanned the rows, his eyes landed on something unusual: a little girl in seat 12B, her tear-streaked face buried in her small hands. Her father, a tall man in a worn leather jacket, sat beside her in 12A. He didn't comfort her, didn't speak to her, just scrolled through his phone as if nothing was wrong. Ethan's instincts kicked in. Was she scared of flying? Maybe. But there was something else in her eyes, something desperate, a silent plea. As the plane taxied to the runway, Ethan kept an eye on her. She was trembling, her small fingers clutching the seatbelt tightly. He watched as she subtly looked around, at the overhead bins, the emergency exit, the flight attendants, like she was searching for a way out. Determined to help, Ethan rolled the beverage cart to their row. "Anything to drink?" he asked with a warm smile. The father barely glanced up. "Water," he muttered. Ethan crouched slightly, speaking in a soft voice. "Hey there, are you okay?" The girl hesitated, her lips parting like she wanted to speak, but before she could, her father's hand clamped onto her shoulder. "She's fine," he said, his voice firm, final. Ethan nodded and moved on, but inside, his gut twisted. Something was definitely wrong. As he passed again, the girl did something unexpected. She tugged on his uniform, just a tiny pull, almost imperceptible. Ethan turned, kneeling slightly to meet her eyes. Then, she did something chilling. She didn't speak. Instead, she slowly moved her fingers in the air, shaping silent letters, HELP. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. He nodded ever so slightly, then walked away, his mind racing. This wasn't just a scared child. This was a child in danger. Ethan rushed to the galley, pulling aside Clara, another flight attendant. In hushed whispers, he explained what he saw. "She's trying to communicate in secret," Clara murmured, eyes wide. "That's terrifying. We have to do something," Ethan said. "Quietly. We can't spook him." They decided to alert the captain. Within minutes, Captain James radioed airport security. A plan was in motion, but now came the hardest part, keeping the girl safe until they landed. For the next 2 hours, Ethan couldn't stop watching them. Each time the girl fidgeted, her father hissed something under his breath. Each time she tried to shift away, he gripped her wrist just a little too tightly. Ethan knew they had to act fast. He scribbled a quick note and discreetly slid it onto her tray. "Are you in danger?" She barely glanced at it before giving a tiny nod. He wrote again, "I will help you." Her eyes filled with tears, but for the first time, there was something else: hope. As they neared the airport, Clara proposed a genius plan. "We'll say there's a mechanical issue," she whispered. "We'll deplane in small groups, separate them." Ethan nodded. It had to work. As passengers waited, the father grew irritated. He pressed the call button. "Why can't we just leave?" he demanded. "Safety protocol," Ethan said evenly. "It'll just take a moment." Then, security boarded. The father stiffened as uniformed officers stepped forward. "Sir, we need to ask you a few questions about your travel documents." The father's face darkened. "My what? You have no right?" He turned suddenly, eyes darting around, sensing the trap. Then, he bolted. He lunged toward the galley, toward the curtain where Marina was waiting, but 2 officers grabbed him, wrestling him back. "Where's my daughter?" he roared, thrashing. "You can't take her from me." Behind the curtain, Marina clutched Ethan's hand, her whole body trembling. He knelt beside her, his voice calm despite his pounding heart. "You're safe now," he whispered. "They won't let him hurt you." And then, just like that, it was over. Handcuffed, furious, the father was dragged off the plane. Passengers murmured in shock, piecing together what had just happened. As Marina was led off the plane, Ethan followed, determined to see this through. In the terminal, a woman stood frozen, eyes wide with unshed tears. Marina barely took a second before she sprinted forward. "Mommy!" Her mother collapsed to her knees, pulling her daughter into a shaking embrace. "Oh, baby, you're safe. You're safe." Ethan swallowed the lump in his throat. The mother turned to him, tears streaming. "You saved my daughter. I can never repay you." Ethan managed a smile. She was the brave one. Marina looked up at him. "You believed me." "Of course I did," Ethan said. "I always will." That night, as Ethan lay in bed, he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Marina's silent plea, her desperate eyes, how easily this could have ended differently, but it didn't, because someone paid attention. And as he closed his eyes, Ethan knew he would never forget the little girl who spelled out help, and the flight where he answered,